Hey folks, this is Gregory Robinson, author of Time Machine, and this is our Fast Five on Friday. I wanted to start as we normally do by telling a little story from a childhood. We grew up in a pretty small town. We only got our second stoplight back in '94. But the big thing when we were small children, for fun, was to go to the pool. And one day, we were fairly young because my brothers were still wearing the swimmies, and if you don't know what that is, before the modern vests are almost life jackets that kids are wearing now when they go swimming. We used to have these plastic things that you blew up and you put around your arm to keep you afloat before you could swim. And so my brothers were still wearing those, and there's only 4 years in between us, so we were all fairly young. So we were at the pool one day, and our favorite thing was to go off the diving board. Just off the diving board, straight over to the ladder, out of the pool, around to the diving board again, and off the diving board. And we just do this over and over and over and over again. Well, I remember one day in particular, we had been going at it for, it seemed like hours. And I remember swimming over to the ladder to get out of the pool, and man, I was exhausted. Literally exhausted. I put a foot on the ladder and I couldn't lift myself up out of the pool. I had to actually sit there for a moment or two to kind of gather my strength before I could get out of the pool. That's how tired I was. My brother was behind me, and he went off the diving board as I'm sitting there, and I finally gathered enough strength to pull myself out of the pool. I had one more step to get out of the pool, and I noticed when he went off the diving board that one of his swimmies came off, and he was having a hard time keeping himself afloat. So I dove back into the water, even as exhausted as I was, and swam over to him and got him back over to the ladder. And I can still remember to this day how tired I was, how exhausted I was, but in that moment, I was able to get over there to him. And it's always amazed me what the human body is capable of when we're properly motivated. We've all heard these stories of people lifting cars off of loved ones, or some amazing feat of strength to save someone. And most might say that it's the rush of adrenaline that gave them the ability to complete this impossible task. And I personally believe that these feats are fueled by a much more powerful thing. In each of these stories, we see a common theme, and that theme is love. None of these people lifted these cars off of someone for money or fame. It's not like they're a strong man sitting out there selling tickets to lift this car up. That's not the case. It was done out of love, and love is the purest and most powerful of all human feelings. It can not only give you the strength to do the impossible, but it also leads your heart to do the right thing. Recently, I heard a story from a friend of mine. She was doing some shopping at a local drugstore, some toiletries and such, and ran across a woman who was basically about unconscious, sitting in a seat waiting on her prescription to be filled. And everyone else in the store was ignoring her, and she could tell something was wrong, so she went over and asked if she was okay. She found out this woman had just been released from the hospital, and she was having some complications. She was able to get her some water and sit with her until she called 911 and the ambulance was able to arise. When everyone else was ignoring this person in serious need, she felt the love and compassion for her, lack of a better term, fellow man, and did what needed to be done. Jesus simplified the entire Bible, stating the whole of the law and the prophets could be summed up in 2 statements. Number 1, love the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, your body, and your soul. And number 2, love your neighbor as yourself. And this is something that is key. If we can get this concept that love is actually the fuel that will push us into greatness, I think we're really going to be a lot better off. This has been our Fast Five on Friday. I hope you have a great day, and I hope the good Lord blesses you today. Bye.